Okay, in this video we are going to talk about a couple of very cool tools that are in Illustrator, and that is Live Trace and Live Paint. Let's start by talking about Live Trace. Sometimes we have a raster image that we want to bring into Illustrator and turn into a vector image. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to place a photo into this Illustrator document here. Just going to zoom in and we'll go up to File and to Place. And I will browse to my photo here and go ahead and place that. Now here I have a picture from the movie The Blues Brothers that I've placed into that. And I can expand it or shrink it by just using the selection tool. Now if I do resize it, I need to make sure that I am holding down Shift so I don't distort the image. But I can set that the way I want. Now from this point I've got a couple of options. I could embed this into my file and that would leave it as a raster image. So I could come up here and click embed and it would make it a part of my document, but it would be raster and would not have the qualities of vector image. Or I could live trace this, which turns it into a vector image. I'm going to zoom in on it a bit so we can see better what it's doing. So here we have a shot from the Blues Brothers and I want to live trace this. Now, I'm going to go up here to Image Trace, and if I click that, it's going to trace it using the default settings. If I click this arrow to the right of that, I see the settings, the presets right here. I'm going to just go ahead and use the default ones because I can do those presets afterward also. So I'm just going to choose Image Trace. And you'll see that it has very simply converted this to vector. Now this is just a two-color conversion. We've got black and white. You can kind of make out what the picture was, but it obviously doesn't look much like the picture did originally. Now if what I'd been trying to trace in was a ink drawing or something like that, then it probably would have worked just fine. So I'm going to come up to this where it says preset up here at the top, and I've got all these different presets here. So here's high quality photo. Now that's going to go ahead and re-examine things. And there it is live traced as a high quality photo. If you zoom in, you can see that it isn't photographic. It is still vector. It's got, it's not perfect, but it's a really good representation of what this picture looked like, but traced by the computer in vector form. Now, I've got other presets up here. For example, a low fidelity photo. And that's using less colors, less paths, making it a simpler illustration. If I come up here, I've got 3 colors, so it's going to limit the tracing to only 3 colors. Come here, I can say I want it to be 6 colors. Expand that out a little bit, but still limiting it to 6 colors. And then I've got things like 16 colors, shades of gray, maybe this is a black and white logo, sketched art, silhouettes, line art, or a technical drawing. So presets there to help me depending upon what this picture is. I'm going to do low fidelity photo. That looked pretty good. Now, if I want to manually adjust these settings, I just click this little panel to the right of the presets. This is what the presets are based upon, and I can choose how many colors are used. I can choose how under advanced I can use what quality of path fitting, how many corners are there, all sorts of different ways to adjust this to make it look the way that I want it to. Now, you can see this blue X going across the front of my image. Until I finish the live tracing by expanding it, it's not actually vector. It's just giving me more of a preview of what it will look like as vector. I have to click this button here that says expand. And I know that I haven't as long as I see that little blue X. So I'm going to click expand right here. And now you can see that I can actually see the individual paths. So if I zoom in on this, you can see that these are all just points and paths, just like any other manual vector illustration. Now, because they're points and paths, I can deal with them the way I would any other vector illustration. I can change colors, I can adjust curves, I can get rid of parts of it, but right now it's all grouped. The first thing I need to do is come up in Object and ungroup this. And now let's say, for example, that I didn't want any of this background. I can just come and start selecting it and deleting it, right? I could go in and I could change colors like we said, all sorts of different things. Now that background bled into his jacket, so I'd need to undo that and go back and probably separate that before I started getting rid of the background. But you get the point. I now have the ability to bring this in and do to it whatever I would like. Now, this is a fantastic feature when you hand draw something. A lot of times people, if you're very good with a pencil or a pen, you may hand draw an illustration, then scan that illustration and place it into Illustrator and either live trace it or trace it with the pen tool, and then you can use Illustrator to kind of finish it up, to give it color, to smooth out certain parts of it, add in a background, whatever you'd like to do. So that is Live Trace.